Welcome to episode 2 of DownWithThat.Life. DownWithThat.Life is an online community for parents, siblings, and caregivers of adults with Down syndrome, where our whole purpose is building relationships, living in community, providing support, and sharing hope. Welcome to episode number 2 of DownWithThat.Life. I wanted to pick up in this episode where we left off in episode 1. So if you hadn't had a chance to check out episode 1, make sure that you go back, bring you up to speed. It's only 4 or 5 minutes long, so you can do that pretty quickly. I want to take you back, if you can imagine what it was like in that hospital room that day that Josh was born. We had just been given the information. We did no pre-test, so we had no idea that our pediatrician thought Josh had been born with Down syndrome. Now, I don't know about you, but in 1990, I didn't know a lot about Down syndrome. And so when that diagnosis came, my world was absolutely rocked. Cindy made the decision and vocalized it right then that it didn't matter. She was just going to love him for who he was. And that was my feeling, but it wasn't what I articulated. My first thought was I want to learn everything I can about this disability. And so we came at it from 2 different angles, but we came to the same conclusion. We loved Josh. He was a genuine gift from God. Now, I was the student pastor at a pretty large church, and he was born early on a Wednesday morning. And so later that evening, a lot of the students and adult workers came to the hospital to see Josh and to congratulate us. Well, it just so happened that in the afternoon, a nurse had brought Josh into the room for us to spend some time with him. And then it was a change of shifts. And so she took him back to the nursery, and we were just talking. We knew that the students were coming, so we kind of got dressed up a little bit and ready to go down and meet them. And then all of a sudden, as we were on our way to the nursery, knowing full well that many of our students and adult leaders were there was a code blue. We didn't know what was going on. People started scrambling everywhere. And when we got down to the nursery, we noticed there was a huge amount of activity with doctors and nurses over this one baby. And lo and behold, when we discovered that it was our son, Josh, our mind just began to race to the worst case scenario. You see, in between shifts, Josh had been left outside of the nursery, and he ended up turning blue. When Josh was born, we didn't know it right away. We discovered it relatively soon, though. He was born with a congenital heart defect. He had 2 holes in his heart, one in the upper chamber and one in the lower chamber, and a bad valve. Well, the decision was made. He needed to go to a specialized hospital in Norfolk. So we waited and we waited and we waited. And just before he was transported by ambulance to this other hospital, they brought him into our room. He's in a tent. Just a very scary thing for brand new parents. I mean, I'm just 26 years old and Cindy's just 23 years old. And here we are with our first baby. He's in this tent. They tell us that he's got a heart condition. He almost died just a moments earlier, and now he's transferred to a new hospital. But as I would say fate, but to be honest with you, I don't really believe in fate, as God would have it. On the other end, at the other hospital, one of the wife of one of our student ministry workers, a very precious nurse, was there to receive Josh and to take him into the NICU unit at the hospital. What a wonderful, peaceful moment that was, to know that there was somebody there who loved him almost as much as we did. Well, we made our way over to that hospital. We were sitting in the waiting room before we could go in and see him. And another one of our precious adult workers brought us a Walkman. That's a strange little device that played a cassette tape, which was, well, ask somebody who's a little bit older than you. They might know what that is. But we put the headphones on and we listened to the song. And the basis of the song was, when you can't trust God's heart. And the basis of that song was, when you can't trace God's hand, trust His heart. And that's exactly what we had to do. Well, Josh had a cardiac, Josh had a doctor who was a cardiologist that he informed us that Josh had a couple of holes in his heart. He said maybe those holes would just close up in his heart. but if not, he would one day have to have surgery. Well, lo and behold, we ended up leaving Virginia and heading down to Georgia when Josh was about 2 years old. The doctor had given us clean bill of health. We thought a miracle had taken place. We thought that the holes in his heart had closed up. Well, while we were at a church in Georgia, Josh had an annual checkup, and it was discovered that the holes were still there. And the pediatric cardiologist said, we need to get this taken care of right away. Again, another punch to the gut. Our world was rocked to its core. But we knew Josh was in good hands because we left him in our Father's hands. We've got a story to tell. We've got a lot of experiences to share, and we're still on the journey of a lifetime. We don't have all the answers. Heck, we don't even know all the questions, but we do have, we want to share with others. Would you be willing to join us on the journey? I hope that you will. I also hope that you'll join us for episode number 2 of DownWithThat.Life as we share with you a little bit more about our story, our journey, and how it can impact others.